drops an atomic bomb.
Hello everyone, welcome back to our overview series of 1951. We are now doing our overview of SEATO, or the Southeast Asia Treaty Organization. Now, in actuality, SEATO was founded in 1950, late 54, early 55. But for the purposes of this game, we decided to make it a faction, create it as a faction early. Basically, it involves Australia, New Zealand, all the South Pacific Islands, Southeast Asia, the British contingent of northern Borneo, which we just called it Eastern Malaya, and then Pakistan as well. In creating the SEATO Alliance, when we created it, we just created with the initial members who were there at the founding of the organization at the time late 54, early 55. But so in the purposes for this game, SEATO does not start out as a strong faction, as you can see here in Southeast Asia. It's mainly all infantry with some artillery, one aircraft. They do have a small fleet off of Malaya and Thailand. You also have the Philippines and Taiwan. They're not real big, especially Taiwan, because obviously this is taking place the game starts, roughly a year and a half to 2 years after after Chiang Kai-shek has lost the Chinese Civil War. You still have the British contingent here in Hong Kong. We just rolled that into SEATO as well, since Great Britain was folded over, obviously because Great Britain is part of NATO. And then, you come down here like I showed, and then you have Australia. You have the Anzacs, Australia, and New Zealand. This is where some of their, more of their combat power kind of comes from. They start out with 2 Marines. There's the only single tank that SEATO owns for the game. And then they have a fighter in New Zealand with a infantry garrison there in New Zealand. So SEATO is, at the beginning of the game, like I said, SEATO is not strong, but their purpose is mainly, obviously to try and make sure that the Chinese player just doesn't bum rush into Southeast Asia and grab all that IPC. Though at the same time, if the rules go in the favor of China, that can still obviously happen with them. That China can just blitz through Southeast Asia and take it. But obviously, SEATO does have the one holdout here in Pakistan, because the neutral nation of India acts as kind of a barrier. Well, actually, Pakistan is surrounded by neutral nations, which makes it hard for the communist forces to come in to take it. We did have to make some IPC changes this game after our last 2 play tests. So Pakistan used to be worth 1, now it's worth 2, and then Borneo, it used to be I think it was like 2 and 1, so we flipped it so that way we didn't have to make any other drastic IPC changes for it. So that's sort of that's the overview of at least the NATO starting positions. They're a minor power. They have just enough to at least sort of keep the Chinese in check, but not a whole lot. So going over the national pieces, basically, you can just use the Anzacs from Global 40. Unfortunately, I have the first edition of Pacific 1940, so my Anzac pieces are the 1940 first edition pieces. So, use the Anzac pieces. The only other pieces that you need to buy for the Anzacs are the self-propelled artillery. These are the sextons that you can get from Historical Board Gaming. The we went with the Churchills for their heavy tanks. Just something different. And because I only had Pacific First Edition, the Anzacs didn't have their own anti-aircraft guns. So I gave them the anti-aircraft gun markers that I got. I think it's with First Edition Spring 42. So those anti-aircraft guns I just gave to them. And then the last pieces that you just need to buy are some Gloucester jet fighters for their jet fighters, and then C-47 transports for their transport aircraft. So I'm pretty quick, easy video on SEATO. Like I said, SEATO is not a big nation in this game. They're not a big player, at least in the beginning. They're kind of there to just act as a stopgap for against the Chinese. But given time, the last couple games have shown that when given time, SEATO can build itself back up to be on par at least with China, as far as like a nation to be in this game. So that's it for the allies. We've gone over all the allies. So our next video will be over here with the Soviet Union. So until next time, guys, take care.